Looking here at the measuring utensils, in the last unit, looking at cooking basics, we just covered a couple of the very basic measuring utensils. I'm going to introduce you to a couple of more that are used in the culinary lab. So, when we're looking at measuring utensils, we talked last unit about weight being a more accurate measurement than volume. So, some ways that you would measure by weight, a balance scale would mean that you would put your ingredient here in the bowl and you would put something on this side to balance it out. You have different weights and things that are used. The digital scale is the easiest and most commonly used. We use that in our food lab and it's used in the professional kitchen the most often. Remember, we talked about in the last unit, you put a bowl generally or a bag or something on the scale itself, and then you hit the Terry or on or clear button. Therefore, you don't weigh the bowl, and it only weighs the ingredients at that point. A stemmed thermometer here is used to check the temperature of thick food items. So you put this food item, probe it into, for at least 15 seconds, into the thick part of the food item to measure that temperature. A ladle is also something that you will find in your drawer. It is used very often in the food lab, but these also come in various sizes in the professional kitchen, and you can measure fluid ounces and milliliters. So this can be used as a portioning or measuring tool. Dry measure cups, we just covered those, coming in 1 full cup, 1/2 cup, 1/3 of a cup, and 1/4 of a cup. Measuring spoons, we talked about those in the last little mini unit as well. You have a fourth, a half, and a whole teaspoon. And then you have 1 tablespoon. The tablespoon is being the big one. There's also a portion scale here, which is a non digital piece of equipment. And this one will not measure down quite as accurately as far as the digital scale, but it will measure up a lot further. If you're trying to measure in pounds, then I would recommend the portion scale. These are sometimes referred to by my students as the ice cream scoops, but these are actually portion scoops and they come in various sizes and they are used for portioning out food items. We use these a lot if we are making, say, cookies and we portion the cookie dough evenly on the tray, and that way every cookie on our tray is the same. It will bake to the same size and it will bake evenly at the same amount. There is a number on that on the handle, which you'll see when you handle them in person, and that indicates how many times that scoop would go into a quart. So your bigger scoop is actually going to have a larger number because it would only go into a quart like 6 or 8 times versus the little scoop, which you would need a whole lot more of them. A thermocouple here. This is a digital instant read. It's a probe like the other one. You put it into a food item. You don't leave it in, but it very quickly checks so you can see if it is done. This is also good for checking the temperature of oil for deep frying and things like that. A volume measure, the liquid measuring, we discussed that. These in the lab usually go in cups, but you can get big ones and when the volume measures all the way up to 1 gallon. So in the culinary kitchen, you would handle some in big quantities, you would handle bigger ones.